Hey guys, Brian with Buffalo Beer Reviews, back with something really kind of different for me. I've got a couple of beers on the horizon, and I've got to make some fruit purees. I have that cherry wheat down in the basement, or the wheat base to the cherry wheat, fermenting primary in the basement right now. I'm gonna go with just about 4.5 pounds of fresh cherries that I'm gonna puree down and kind of get ready to go for the secondary in about 3 days. I also have a sour that I wanted to attempt, and I was going to do like a black and blueberry puree to second that recipe as well. So I figured if I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna get all of the fruit, I'm gonna get all the pots ready, I'm gonna get the hand blender ready to go. I'm thinking about here, let me flip it around, I'll show you. Let me start over again. So this is my 4.5 pounds of cherries. I've taken the stems off. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the pits out of it. I might do like a general sort of pulse, sort of kind of mash on it and then strain it through the strainer. 4.5 pounds of cherries, and then I have a grand total of the blackberries and blueberries. That tends to be just about 5.5 pounds. I understand that the blackberries don't have such a concentrated sort of flavor, so I wanted to go a little bit more poundage per the 5 gallons, 5.5 gallons with the black and blueberries. So that's that. So I'm thinking about maybe initially bringing it to like the hand pureer in there, and then kind of straining it into the bowl, and then this bowl fits really nicely back into this to do like an indirect sort of heat with the with like a water bath. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. By no means am I a chef or anything like that. This is all sort of my first attempt at it. This is what I've been able to kind of piece together through some brew forums and stuff like that. I've got my little thermometer here that I'll put into the pot when I bring it up. I guess pasteurization's like 150 degrees to 170 degrees for 15 minutes. So I'll pasteurize it once it's pureed, bring it down to a freeze, and then let it kind of get ready for the secondary in a couple of days. So let me try to set this tripod up and we'll get going with the puree. All right, guys, I kind of thought that was a little bit easier than I anticipated. That hand kind of emulsifier, that puree wand, that really helped a lot. And I wanted to start with the blackberries and the blueberries because they're a little bit smaller of the fruits. They're a little bit easier to handle in the pot and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to do the indirect heat sort of temperature management. I'm going to stand right here, having a really low heat. I'm just going to keep it stirred until I hit that 150 to 170 range, and I'll set the timer for 15 minutes. I will use that glass bowl that it came in to kind of go back into with the mesh screen, and then hit the freezer with it after I'm done. But I'll pick that up later with the screening and the filtering process. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and start the timer here at the 150 mark. 15 minutes. And I'm gonna turn this down to like a real low heat, and just sit here and stir. Sorry about that. Try to keep that right there. So I'm trying to do this one-handed as I'm watching. All right, guys, so the puree is up to temp. It's hovering right at about 150. I'm anticipating this being a little bit off. I could get my my thermal pen and check it, but this is fine, I think. It's been pretty accurate on my brew days. So I have my timer set for 15. Let's start it. And I turned the heat all the way down to like a low just to keep a little bit of heat on it. I haven't had any problems with any perceived sort of scorching. You can kind of feel what it's like on the bottom of your pans if you've ever felt that. So I think I'm okay without doing the indirect heat. The aromas are awesome. It's a very light and bright sort of blueberry presence. Probably wish I could have done a little bit more blackberries, but you know, this is my first time through. Like 5.5 pounds worth. And then I'm gonna hit it with the strainer before I put it into the glass bowl. I think what I'm gonna do is, for safety purposes, I'm gonna sanitize my glass bowl with my Star San so that I don't have any areas of potential contamination. So I'm just gonna let this go for 15 minutes and then we'll pick back up. All right, we're done with the blueberry and blackberry puree. It filled up just that entire bowl worth. Very nice, great aromas. Have it venting a little bit as it cools. I'm gonna put that in the freezer in just about like 10-15 minutes. I have I cleaned and rinsed that out. Getting ready for the cherries to kind of go in there. Strain it through with the paddle, kind of force it through the fine mesh strainer, and you know, filter out the pits and the skin. In all honesty, this has been a pretty medium, the low end of medium in the terms of difficulty. I do think it helps if you have a couple of different things. If you have a little bit of counter space, if you have a couple of deeper dished pots like this guy, it's a little bit deeper, and it helped with the pulse purator. It helped not make so much of a mess in a little bit of a deeper pot. That being said, this guy really does make life easy for something like this. I was able just to kind of immerse it down in there and hit the puree button. Yeah, I mean, heating to temperature with your little temperature probe on the side of the pot is very, I think, introductory and basic cooking skills. With that being said, I'm pretty much like a beginner in the kitchen. I wasn't able to find any pitted cherries, whether it was fresh or frozen. The frozen fruit was ridiculously expensive. I ended up buying everything fresh, but you know how Tops is. It's like buy 2 get 3 free, buy 5 get 5 free or whatnot. So almost you're getting a lot of fruit for free per se. You know what I mean? So that made the cost a little bit more effective. But for me, with these fresh cherries, they came stemmed and with the pits in it, with stems and with pits in it. So, you know, kind of taking all the stems off as you're throwing them into the bowl. And I'm using the pulse pureer in there, and I just left the pits in the little puree mix in here, and I'm gonna try to weed them out with the strainer. You can kind of see, you know, it's really easy. You can kind of see it dripping all out. You know, that's the goodness. But I just rest it right here on the side of the pot. Kind of helps keep a little bit of strain off of this back hand of mine. And just take a couple of minutes to kind of push this blended mix through the fine mesh screen. So then you'll start to see all the skins and the seeds left behind and just your good old juice coming through. And that is a nice amount of cherryness. Oh my God. Now this has a completely different smell than the blueberries. Obviously, different fruits, different aromas, but this is a really bright, sweet sort of, a light, misty sort of sweetness in the air with it. It's really cool. By no means is this like a concentrated sort of cherry aroma. That's kind of what I had in mind. But yeah, no, I've been really excited about this process so far. Just wanted to show you guys the leftover byproduct of the sieve, you know? So that's about it. I don't think I'm going to put on to a video of me pulling the original gravity of the wheat beer and adding it and stuff like that. But that's what I wanted to kind of show you guys what it looked like after it got strained. I did end up, after that 4.5 pound bowl of cherries that you saw, I did end up using just the rest of the bag. It might have been another 3 handfuls of cherries. I think just with a little bit of volume loss with the skin, a little bit of volume loss from the pits, I did not feel uncomfortable putting in a little bit extra of the cherries. Do you know what I mean? So that's about it. I think what I'm going to end up doing is, once I get my 15 minutes on my pasteurization on the cherries, I've got 4 minutes left. I'm going to take a gravity reading on my wheat beer, because if it's around where my final gravity is, this is day 9, just the beginning of day 9 out of 10 days. If my gravity is around where I'd like it to be, I might just pull the yeast off, or the rest of sort of the trub drop out of my conical, and I might just pitch the cherries into the wort once they kind of cool down a little bit. So that's really about it for me, guys. I hope you guys appreciate a little look into sort of the adventures in homebrewing. I mean, this is my first go at it, and I'm trying to expand my experiences and my brewing technique experiences and stuff like that, so that future batches or future endeavors won't seem so scary. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really appreciate all the clicks and the watches. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.